There's a lot of noise, and it's easy to get swept up in the hype and endless promises of quick success. But honestly, I'm more interested in the process, the real, messy work of learning something new, with all its ups and downs. Instead of chasing shortcuts or pretending to have all the answers, I decided to dive into affiliate marketing and document my journey, mistakes and all, as they happen. No hype, no promises, just an honest look at what it's like to start from scratch with all the uncertainty and awkwardness that comes with it. Today, I'm trying out Cared, a tool for building one-page websites that's supposed to be beginner-friendly and straightforward. I'm not a web developer, so simple sounds good. This isn't a tutorial or a step-by-step guide. I'm a complete beginner, and I want to capture what that feels like, the confusion, the hesitation, and the small wins along the way. My goal is simple: document a day's work, not show off a finished product or pretend I have it all figured out. We usually see the polished results online, not the confusion, frustration, and trial and error that happens behind the scenes. By sharing my fumbles and the things that trip me up, maybe I'll help someone else who's just starting out and feeling overwhelmed. The path to learning is rarely a straight line. It's full of detours, dead ends, and moments where you wonder if you're even making progress. So let's get into it and see what happens when you start something new with zero experience. I'm not an expert or a guru, just a curious person willing to look a little foolish while figuring things out in real time. This is my report from the front lines of being a total novice, where every step forward feels like a small victory. I'm not building a masterpiece today, and that's perfectly okay. I'm just trying to understand the tools, poke around, and see what's possible when you start from zero. I want to see how the hammer, nails, and wood fit together, how the basics come together to make something real, even if it's rough. This is the story of my first few hours with Card, a journey into the unknown, one click at a time, with all the uncertainty that brings. If you're new to something, you're not alone in feeling lost or unsure. Everyone starts somewhere, and it's normal to stumble. The messy middle is where the real learning happens, where you figure things out by doing, not just by watching. Let's see what I can figure out, what I get wrong, and what I can't quite solve yet. Here's what happened on day one, raw, unfiltered, and as real as it gets. First step, signing up for a free Card account. The process was straightforward, just a few clicks and some basic info, and I was ready to go. Quick, painless, and I was in. That instant access felt empowering, like opening the door to a new workspace. The welcome screen greeted me with a choice. Start from a blank canvas or pick from a range of templates. The blank canvas felt intimidating, almost like staring at an empty page before writing. So I browsed templates for some inspiration and guidance. I started exploring on my phone, super convenient for quick sessions anywhere, whether I was on the couch or out at a cafe. Scrolling through templates was easy. They looked clean and professional, which gave me confidence that I could make something impressive, even as a beginner. I didn't build anything yet. My goal was just to get the lay of the land, to see what was possible before diving in. Jumping in without understanding the environment felt like a recipe for mistakes, so I took my time. So I resisted the urge to customize and just observed, letting myself get comfortable with the interface. I tapped through different styles, thinking about what might work for me later and making mental notes of features I liked. This was all about absorbing the platform's language before trying to speak it, learning the tools, the layout, and the possibilities. Templates range from personal profiles to landing pages and portfolios, each with its own unique style and structure. Seeing the variety helped me realize Card's versatility. There was something for almost every need or idea I could imagine. After about 20 minutes, I put my phone down, feeling a bit more familiar with the landscape and less overwhelmed by the options. No pressure to create, just learning what's possible and letting ideas simmer in the background. Sometimes the best first step is just looking around, exploring with curiosity and no expectations. I was starting to see how the pieces might fit together, how I could shape my own site when the time was right. The journey had begun, even if I hadn't built a thing yet. Sometimes, just exploring is the most important step of all. Switching to desktop, I got a better look at the templates, but some had text and languages I didn't recognize. For a moment I wondered if I'd messed up a setting. Turns out it was just placeholder text, but it threw me off. As a beginner, even small confusions can feel like big obstacles. I also noticed some templates had multiple sections on a single page. Was that advanced? Was it still a one-page site? The terminology was new, and the choices felt overwhelming. I realized I was trying to understand everything at once instead of starting simple. The templates meant to help were now a source of confusion. Sometimes too many options just make it harder to start. Using Card on my phone felt compact and convenient, great for browsing or making quick edits. But building a site from scratch on mobile? Not practical. The screen was too cramped for real work. The mobile app is perfect for small tweaks, but not for heavy lifting. On desktop, everything opened up. The editor was clear, the controls precise. Dragging elements and typing felt natural with a mouse and keyboard. The desktop is the real workshop. The phone is the handy screwdriver for quick fixes. I hadn't expected the experience to be so different between devices. Now I know, build on desktop, manage on mobile. That simple insight will shape my workflow. It's not a flaw, just a lesson in using the right tool for the job. Understanding this difference made the platform feel more approachable. Sometimes the right workspace makes all the difference. Ready to try building, I picked a simple profile template, hoping it would be a straightforward process. The interface looked clean and inviting, which gave me a bit of confidence to dive in. Entering the editor, I started adding text and images. This part felt natural. These were the building blocks I understood from other platforms, and it was satisfying to see my ideas take shape on the page. But then I stumbled upon the structure menu, options like container, Chuck's control, and embed. Suddenly, I was lost. What's a container? What does control do? These weren't terms I'd seen in everyday website builders. These concepts felt abstract, almost like they were meant for people who already had a background in web design or coding. I clicked on container. A dotted box appeared on my page, but I had no idea what to do with it. It just sat there, empty, waiting for me to make the next move. It was like being handed a filing cabinet with no files inside or an empty folder on my desktop. Card is simple in many ways, but some features seem to assume you already know the basics of web structure or design principles. It's not really the platform's fault, I just didn't have the context or experience yet to make sense of these tools. So I decided to ignore the advanced options for now and focus on what I could actually use. I figured I'd come back to them once I understood the fundamentals and felt more comfortable navigating the editor. For now, those features were a black box. A mysterious puzzle I'd save for another day, when I was ready to explore deeper. Sometimes the best move is to focus on what you do understand and build your confidence step by step. I made a note to revisit the structure menu later, knowing that learning is a process, and every puzzle gets easier with time. I started tinkering with a template, changing text, swapping images, playing with colors. It was fun to see instant results, but then I noticed I was in demo mode. I tried to publish but got a login prompt, even though I was already logged in. There was no save button, just publish, which didn't work. I went back to the dashboard. My changes were gone. Turns out demo mode doesn't save your work unless you formally select a template and start a new project. 10 minutes of tinkering vanished. It wasn't a huge loss, but it was frustrating. For beginners, every small step feels important, so losing progress stings. Lesson learned, always start a new project if you want your work to stick. Demo mode is just for exploring, not building. It's a sensible system, but not obvious at first. Another small hurdle, but now I know. Next time I'll save before I play. After a couple hours of confusion and lost work, I realized the problem wasn't Card. It was my approach. The platform isn't broken, I just lacked the basics. I was trying to run before I could walk, diving into advanced features without a clear goal. That's a classic beginner's mistake. The relief? My approach is fixable. I don't need a new tool. I need to slow down and build my knowledge step by step. Instead of trying to master everything, I'll focus on one thing at a time. Today, that means learning how to create a page, add my name, and save it. Patience is key. Learning any new skill takes time. The confusion wasn't failure. It was proof I was learning. Every moment of uncertainty is my brain making new connections. That's the real work, and it's worth it. My first day with card was messy but productive. I learned more from my confusion than I would have from a smooth ride. Now, I have a plan. Treat this like an apprenticeship. First, I'll keep exploring, but with a goal. Create a test site and try each feature one by one. No pressure to make it pretty, just to learn. Second, I'll define my site's purpose before worrying about design. What's the one thing I want visitors to do that will guide my choices? Finally, I'll keep it simple. One page, one call to action. Prove I can build the basics before adding complexity. Lay the first brick right, then build the wall. That's my focus for now. To track my progress, I started a public notebook called the Wonder Dome. It's not a guide or a course, just an honest log of my journey. If you're starting from scratch, maybe you'll find it helpful, or at least entertaining. No pressure to follow, but it's there if you're curious about the real process of learning. Next, I'll put my plan into action. Create a sandbox site, experiment, and document what I learn. I'm not in a rush. I want to understand the tool, not just build something fast. The confusion of day one clarified my path forward. Now I know where my gaps are and how to fill them. This is a marathon, not a sprint. There are no shortcuts to competence, just work, questions, and a willingness to feel lost. Next time, I hope to understand containers, controls, and saving my work. For now, I'm content with learning the tools. The work continues.